violence, fear, discrimination. These words describe anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is a long-lasting and pervasive issue within all of society. However, many people do not understand the origins, the history, and the modern examples of anti-Semitism, nor how to combat it. Although anti-Semitism has been around for a while, it actually started in the first millennium of the Christian era, where Christian leaders developed biased viewpoints on Jews. For example, the Jews are the ones who were blamed for the destruction of the Second Temple. This hatred continued for a very long time, and in the 12th century, accusations against Jews started to come about. They were blamed for ritual murder as well as for blood libels. Blood libels were false claims that Jews would sacrifice Christian children on Pesach to get blood for unleavened bread. With ideas like these about Jews being common throughout history, many derogatory beliefs spread about them. Even though anti-Semitism had been around for a while, the actual term anti-Semitism was not originally created until the 19th century. Specifically, in 1879, German journalist Wilhelm Marr derived the term anti-Semitism, indicating the hatred of Jews. Additionally, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, anti-Semitism can be defined as hostility toward or discrimination against Jews as a religious, ethnic, or racial group. Throughout history, many terrible incidents of anti-Semitism have occurred, but none as bad as the Holocaust. Furthermore, the Holocaust did not just happen. Instead, it was a carefully planned destruction of the Jews in which many incidents occurred before it turned into outright genocide. Kristallnacht, which occurred on November 9, 1939, was a major incident that resulted in the Holocaust. During Kristallnacht, the Nazis destroyed synagogues and the shop windows of Jewish-owned stores that were located throughout Germany and Austria. Kristallnacht was very deadly, and in just 2 days' time, more than 250 synagogues and 7,000 businesses were looted. Between 1939 and 1945, through the use of mass killing centers known as concentration camps, approximately 6 million European Jews were murdered at the hands of the Nazis. Oftentimes, when we think of anti-Semitism, we immediately think of the Holocaust, but anti-Semitism is still very present today. For example, in 2017, the United Kingdom had a record 1,382 hate crimes that were against Jews, which was an increase of 34% from the previous years. Furthermore, according to the Anti-Defamation League, which is a Jewish civil rights advocacy organization, in 2018, anti-Semitic assaults doubled. Additionally, the American Jewish Committee released a survey that found that almost 1 out of every 4 Jews in the United States has been the victim of anti-Semitism over the past year. For example, 17% of people said that they were the victim of an anti-Semitic remark that was made in person, 12% of people said that they were the victim of an anti-Semitic remark that was made online, and 3% of people said that they were the target of an anti-Semitic physical attack. Regardless of the way that Jews face anti-Semitism, they are still largely affected by this hatred. Stereotypes can largely contribute to the spread of anti-Semitism. A new poll that was conducted by the ADL found that 19% of Americans think that the Jews still talk too much about the Holocaust. Another stereotype is the myth that the Jews are the ones who killed Jesus. Also mentioned in the poll were long-lasting stereotypes. For example, 15% of people say that the Jews have too much power in the business world. These stereotypes are not only making their way back to current society, but are also showing a worrying trend. History repeating itself. Although anti-Semitism is certainly a terrible thing, the good news is that there are many ways in which we can try and combat it. Everyone can take part in fighting anti-Semitism, and they can do it in their own way. Furthermore, our world leaders are some of the most powerful as well as some of the most well-known people in the world, and many of our world leaders have large amounts of followers. Therefore, they should really put forth the effort to try and end anti-Semitism on a global scale. They should be taking action to try to prevent huge tides of anti-Semitism that has become ubiquitous in today's society. Teachers can also vastly help by educating their students about anti-Semitism. As students, we can do our part and fight anti-Semitism by educating each other and explaining why it is wrong. More specifically, I have some ways that I plan to fight anti-Semitism on a more local scale. First off, I plan to partner with the No Place for Hate Club to ensure that everyone is educated on the topic of anti-Semitism. The club will also give every student at AJA the platform to share their personal experiences regarding anti-Semitism. Second off, I would like to reach out to other schools, non-Jewish schools in particular, and educate and explain to them what anti-Semitism truly is. In summary, Jews have had to face anti-Semitism for many centuries. However, anti-Semitism is beginning to gain momentum once more. To fight anti-Semitism, everyone needs to do their part, which in turn will make our world a better and more peaceful place. As Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel once said, "What hurts the victim most is not the cruelty of the oppressor, but the silence of the bystander." Thank you.
Do you think that the amount of false information on social media and online and the availability of it for anyone to get it has caused the rise in anti-Semitic attacks over the past few years?
I would say it definitely contributes to it because, like on all social medias, I'm going to use Instagram in this case because that's the social media I use the most. There'll be tons of things where like you see comments about Jews and hatred that's spread, which can create like false stuff, stereotypes, and bias towards Jews. So I'd say it's definitely like one of the main issues and why like hate about Jews can spread fast.
What do you think the punishment for online anti-Semitism should be?
I don't think there's that much you could do. I mean, when someone like let's say comments like a hatred toward anybody or Jews in specific, you can't like because it's online, you can't do much. So they're kind of just you can't really like you can't take them off social media. I mean, I think the social media accounts like, they could try to like block the people or get them off of the app, but I wouldn't say there's a ton that you could do to stop like hate comments. Yeah.
What do you think comments to Christians are really come up with these false claims about the Jews? Do you think in any way maybe our fault as Jews?
No, I would not say it was our fault. I would say it could be like Christian conflict versus Jews that could have led like Jews to put blame on. I mean, for Christians to put blame on Jews as the people who were doing it. But I would say a lot of the times, like the things that they said was just out of like pure hatred, and that what they were saying wasn't like reasonable against Jews, and that it was completely false. Eli.
Do you think AJ needs to do more to educate our school about the Holocaust or anti-Semitism? And if so, what do you think they should do?
So yeah, I definitely think we should do more as a school, and I think that when you're remembering a day like that as anti-Semitism or like Holocaust Remembrance Day and all those days, I think there should be like programs to do it. But I think that the program should be like the full course of the day, because like from my experience when I found them in middle school, I feel like they were like short periods of programs, and that they weren't truly meaningful, and that afterwards the day would continue, and that a lot of kids wouldn't actually take anything away from it. So I think we should have programs, but that they should last most of the day, so that kids can actually get like meaning out of it and understand what they're learning.
What should a person do when an anti-Semitic comment is made against them?
Back to what I said before, there's not much that you can do. You can reply, but that could just make the situation worse, and it's not always the best to reply. You could just ignore the comment. You could block the person on social media. I mean, you could ask like the social media platform to block the person, or you could just ignore it, but that's pretty much all the options you have. Jakob?
Why do you think it's so important for people who might be in a safer community and are only going to be around people that they know won't make a comment like that to also be educated about anti-Semitism?
Can you say your question one more time?
Why do you think it's important for people in like a safe community that know that they might not get a comment like that to still be educated about anti-Semitism?
Are the people in the community you're talking about, would they be Jewish, or would they just be?
Like for me, I'm only going to be around
Yeah.
other Jewish people.
I would say two main reasons. The first thing is, obviously a lot of you here, you're going to go to college soon, or you're going to go to Israel, and that, as you've seen, terror attacks are like pretty common in Israel, so you could still face anti-Semitism, especially on colleges, as I'm sure you've heard. There's tons of anti-Semitism, and it's important for you to like know what that is, how to fight against it, because at some point in your lives, likely most people here are going to go to college, and at some point you would likely find anti-Semitism. And a second reason would be, like you see in Israel, obviously you're not going to go to Israel and stop anti-Semitism. You can still like sympathize with the people that are being the victims of anti-Semitism, because like that's your state, that's Israel, and you should care about what happens to the people in that state.